Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tea Talk Thursday. It's Thursday again. I'm telling you, these days just are all connecting. I don't ask me the date because I cannot tell you that, but I'm happy that I at least know it's Thursday. And I washed, I got dressed. I did a whole thing today. You guys know that normally I'm not doing a whole thing. I'm kind of taking it easy, taking it one day at a time. But I am so excited about my guest today. I've been kind of following kind of what she's been doing on social media as well as in the community because she and I don't live very far from one another. And I was excited when she agreed to come on and talk to you guys really about how we are just going to like survive in this here like pandemic. And I don't necessarily mean just like, mentally, I mean, physically, everything. So she's going to give us some strategies. But for those of you who do not know, my name is Tamika. I am the mouth of IG at Tamika Talk and the thought leader at Life and Pumps, where I bring you things, health, wellness, and lots of travel. So before we begin, I want to introduce my guest to you. Her name is Michelle Collier. She is the owner of Performance Fitness in Wynwood, PA, a gym community focused on helping women and men build strength in the gym so they can be strong, capable, and confident outside the gym. She is also certified as a personal trainer through the American Council of Exercise, Level 1 certified in functional movement systems, and has held kettlebell certifications from RKC and Strong First. Michelle has also completed certifications in classical mat Pilates and TRX. Her most important role is being a mom to a sassy, rambunctious 9-year-old in her scant spare time. I love that, scant, absolutely. She enjoys powerlifting, spending time with her son, hanging with friends, reading, walking trails, and binge watching dark suspense dramas on Netflix. Welcome. Thank you once again for taking this time out to join us. I know it is extremely busy for you because people need to stay fit, and I'm hoping that your clients have you doing all kind of virtual classes. Yes. I mean, I totally see the benefit to it. I've been talking to some people, and a lot of people have been, mentioning like their anxiety, their stress level so much is up because, a lot of our coworkers, i.e. kids or husbands, driving people crazy because it's realistically not normal to be anybody 24/7. Like that's just not normal. And people are literally losing it. So let's dig in. Give us like what should we be doing?
Okay, so all of that is so true, and this is just not. We are meant to be around people, and so all of this of being with the same people 24/7, being mostly in our homes, it's stressful, and all of that stress carries over into every aspect of our lives. So what I've really been talking to people about throughout all this is controlling what you can control. That's my mantra. I say it probably every day. I say it to myself a lot because there's so much out there. There's so much information that you'll drive yourself crazy. And once you do that, forget doing a workout. I mean, forget like taking a shower, to work out. Like can't even get focused enough to shower. So what I've done is what I'm working with people on is giving them these 7 tips, things that they can do, strategies that they can do, use to survive at home. So just to do a quick work rundown of them, and then we can, break everything down. One is to find balance. Is to make your perfect in air quotes. Perfect is always in air quotes for me, but make your perfect stay-at-home schedule. Because we're on a stay-at-home order in Pennsylvania, southeastern Pennsylvania. The next thing, number 3, would be to tame your stress and anxiety. And then number 4 has to do with food. So use a plate builder template. Number 5, you're going to want to make your home as much as possible a sanctuary, and hopefully you're in a situation where you can do that. 6 is to get active. And 7 is just what I said at the beginning, control what you can control. So those are my tips, and we can definitely, I have some notes on my phone. We can definitely go into each one of those strategies if you like.
Yes, absolutely. And the first one, the whole control what you can control. I mean, like that speaks volumes. And I think that so many of us are trying to control kind of the life that we lived when things were quote unquote normal. And people keep mentioning, well, what will you do when we get back to normal? And quite frankly, I feel like we need to start accepting our new normal, because I don't know that we'll ever go back to a place where it'll be normal. Because even when the stay-at-home orders are released and people can go out into the world, everybody has been saying, well, I don't know when I'm going to go out. I've already told people I'm going out until 5. I'm going to let the first 4 stages get it and do whatever it's going to do. And then I'm going to come out later on after that. But then it's also a thing where if you're out and somebody talks, you're always going to give them the look. I mean, literally in my house, we can't cough without somebody texting the other, like, who did that? Who is that? Who is that? Mind you, I'm the only one who physically goes out and probably has contact with other people, because I do all the grocery shopping. I've been picking up stuff or whatever. We will go to the park, but if it's a lot of people on a trail, we will leave. Like we want no parts of any of that. So it's very interesting just to hear you say that, because I really don't know. Okay, we have some guests. Let's say hi to them. Hey, Alonda, thanks for joining. I see you said you can only be here for half an hour. So if you have any questions of Michelle, please feel free to put them in there and I'll have her answer them as we go along. Hi, Denisha. Hope everything is well. Hope you guys are staying home, keeping covered, and washing your hands. All right, so let's talk about strategy number 2.
Okay, so strategy number 2 was to make your perfect stay-at-home schedule. This is my favorite strategy besides This is my favorite because I love schedules. I am all about crossing things off, checking off boxes. So the reason to do the schedule, though, is not to, even though it says perfect, it's not to try to be perfect, because there is no perfect. The reason to do the schedule, because like you said, we're not going to go back to normal, or at least not go back to normal for a very, very long time. Right. But the purpose of doing the schedule is to create a sense of normalcy and stability. Right. That's what I was finding. Like after, we were all over the shock of everything in that first couple weeks, and knowing like, oh, this is going to be more than 2 weeks. What people were craving, what clients kept telling me over and over again, friends, is that they were craving a sense of normalcy and stability. And the one thing that they were saying is that we've been doing, we'll talk about this later, but virtual training sessions, and that having those sessions, having those appointments, that's what was giving them a sense of normalcy and stability in their lives. So you do that by setting a schedule. So setting up what we're going to do every day, and do it however you want. If you have a planner that, you're feeling like, well, why did I buy a 2020 planner? You can still use that. You can do that. You can use Google Calendar. You can do a Word document. So I did a schedule for my son last week to handle his schoolwork, and it's his schedule, but the schedule was like for me. He needed, because of the way I operate, I needed that. I needed to have something on paper that I could refer to. I needed to have that paper to say, oh, no, this is when you're supposed to be doing schoolwork together. So no, you can't schedule that client, or you can't make client phone calls right now because you're supposed to be doing schoolwork. And instead of trying to jam all that together and get stressed out while I'm trying to make sure he's watching whatever video and I'm trying to deal with a client, just don't. Do the schedule.
Yes, absolutely. And so what's funny is, for me, I use a bullet journal. So that's kind of what I do my planning in. And my daughter has been fussing at me because it's kind of an activity that we do together, but I have not done mine for 2 months. Okay. And what I said to her is, I don't have anything to schedule, which really is not true, because I still have meetings, I have deadlines I have to meet, things I have to write. But I just fell into the whole the world is standstill, nobody's doing anything. I don't need anything. And I think that it started giving me a little bit of anxiety, because I was kind of like, wait, I have a meeting. What time is my meeting? I know I cannot rely on my memory to do anything. So I think that is key in doing that, because yes, everybody has been saying the worst thing that I bought this year was a planner, and I'm like, use it for something different. You know, it doesn't necessarily be for recording events or meetings. I mean, you still have birthdays to remember. Maybe you want to go on a new journey for something and you want to remember what you did on those days. So what I'm planning to do with mine is I just started a garden. I'm so excited about it. Is I am really going to use my bullet journal for these months to really talk about what's happening in my garden, kind of, you know, create a little project in there. So definitely love that. Okay. Tip number 3.
Just as a side note, we, you know, on the schedule, on my son's schedule, and even on the schedule that I have in the at-home survival guide that I created, you break the things down just like that, you know, so when you're going to get up, when you're going to have breakfast, when you're going to work out, even down to I'm going to get up, drink water, do my gratitude journal, whatever it is. And then, you know, block off your work time, block off your time to go outside, block off your time to have dinner, spend time with family. So yeah, you are taking those things that maybe typically you wouldn't put in a schedule unless you're like me. This is stuff I typically do. But it gives some structure to your day so that you don't have to feel like my days are endless. You know, I'm hopping from one thing to another, or I can't focus. This way you're able to focus and actually able to get some things done. So
that's a good, that is a really good point that you made, because we do all feel like the day is endless and it just keeps going on and on and on and on. And a lot of that is because of that. I like that.
Yeah. So then the next thing is, you know, the kind of quick anxiety and stress tamer. So everyone, I'm going to say everyone, is feeling more anxious these days. Everyone's coping in different ways, but we're all feeling more anxious. We're all feeling more stressed out, and it can be really overwhelming. And when you're anxious, you're not able to take action, which means you're not able to get stuff done, and then you feel worse about whatever is going on. So if you can take those moments when you're feeling really stressed, and do a type of breathing that I really like. Again, I'm checking my notes here. It's called box breathing. So this again is in the guide, but you know, so what you do for box breathing is you take a deep breath on a count of 4, you hold it for a count of 4, and then you release it on a count of 4. And it's amazing. Like, you might hear that and just go, oh, that's hooey. That's not going to work. It works. Taking those moments to do something like box breathing can really help you to like just bring that anxiety down. So you would do that pattern 4 times. You can also do something called 1-minute meditation, where you can do that as well. Set a timer for 1 minute. Do your box breathing for the minute. Make sure your timer is something gentle. Make sure it's not like the World War II air horn that's going to go off at the end of the minute. So make sure it's like the chime or something. But that can also help. And I've done this even before this whole pandemic, of times, like, you know, sitting in my car before going into work or a meeting or whatever, and just doing this breathing to like bring everything down, to bring that anxiety down. And it really does work.
Absolutely. So Alonzo is saying that this may help with sleep. And I agree. That's exactly what I was thinking as you're saying it. I am very big on the meditation. I try to do it in the morning when I wake up. You know, it's all up to me about just being grateful, being alive, breath of life, and all of that. And another thing that I encourage people a lot, and it's kind of how I started doing the bullet journaling, is a brain dump. Because often when we go to sleep at night, we have so much on our plates already that we have just not released, or maybe it's that to-do list that when you look at it, you're like, oh my God, I only got one thing done. So that just builds up the anxiety. So I'm all about just taking a page out of my journal and writing whatever is on my mind, dumping it, and then going to sleep. But I definitely believe that box meditation, box breathing would definitely help, because, you know, oftentimes we are so off-center that I feel like the centering and listening to our inner selves kind of helps us calm down. Love it. All right, next tip.
So the next tip would be to use a plate builder to build your meals. All right. So again, this all happened. So the date is embedded in my mind. March 12th, the governor's order went out that, you know, businesses in the county where my business is, which is Montgomery County, had to shut down. You know, so we've been shut down since March 13th. true confession, that night after I was done, I sat at the studio by myself for 2 hours, went to Wawa and bought all the foods that I don't normally buy, all of my trigger foods, and progressed into some coping skills, some negative coping skills. And so many people have done that with food. They're either eating too much or eating too much of the things that don't support them in their health, or they're not eating enough. And that is, that can be just as bad. I've gone there too, and it's not good. So by having a plate template, or having even beyond that, just some simple templates that you can use to set your meals up. Nothing that's going to be, I'm not talking about like tracking all your meals or anything like that, but having this template that you use for your daily meals. So if you do 3 meals a day and a snack or 2, using the template, it keeps you focused. It's going to keep you focused for when you need to go food shopping, so that you're not overdoing it, buying, snacks that you don't need to have in your house. And, so that you're really focused on eating things that are going to support you, your body, your health, your goals. So the way to do this plate template, it's really easy, and you can use it with whatever, because again, the food, there's no food. I mean, there's food, but the shelves, like sometimes you go and there's whatever you intended to buy is not there. You hear people saying, only about 40% of what I had on my list was in the store, or now like there might be meat rationing, all sorts of things. But if you use a plate template, you can still keep your meals healthy. So basically the plate template is you divide your plate. Half of your plate is going to be vegetables. So that's going to give you about 2 servings of vegetables, whatever you like to cook, raw, mix up, have a bunch of different vegetables, whatever it is that you like. Then you're going to do a quarter of your plate that's going to be protein. So if you eat meat, lean protein, whatever it is you can find. And then the other, if you don't eat meat, then use some vegetarian sources like beans or quinoa, but, or tofu, things that are going to be, high in protein for a vegetarian. And then that other quarter of your plate is going to be healthy carbohydrates. So vegetables are carbohydrates, by the way, but healthy starchy carbohydrates. So things like rice, potatoes, starchy vegetables like butternut squash, spaghetti squash, things like that. And then you can kind of, if you do like about a thumb size of healthy fat, so olive oil, something like that. So maybe olive oil that you use to cook, or olive oil that you might use to dress your salad. That's going to be a template that you can use to form all your meals. And if it's a snack, use a smaller plate or a smaller container to fill out those meals. And you'll be able to use that no matter what there is or isn't at the store. And no recipes required either. So if you don't like to cook, or you don't like doing recipes that have 12 ingredients, you can use that template to create your meals.
That's really great. I love that. And especially because I don't like to cook. I tell people all the time I don't like to cook, but I know that if I don't, my family will literally eat chips all day. Choice. No, I am not exaggerating. They will eat chips and popcorn all day long. So I know that cooking is not an option for me. And through this quarantine, I've seen the kitchen more than I've ever seen it in my life. I'm not gonna complain. Some of it I have enjoyed. Some of it I'm like, again. But I have seen, because I generally, not always, I'm not gonna tell a lie, pay attention to what I'm eating. And so because I am really on this lifestyle change, where I'm trying to get my family to recognize the importance of eating better cooked meats, organic vegetables and things of that nature. And so I'm just buying them and swapping things out in the house, which is what I've been kind of doing for the past few months as I detox my kitchen. But what I found is that a lot of people, yes, have been talking about the meat rationing. So I have most of my meat delivered, so I have not had that issue. But I've seen it in the stores where people were just buying everything. And it was kind of like, well, what did you have at home?
Right.
What I tell people is you don't necessarily have to have a big piece of meat for every meal. And I love that you talk about the plate builder and the, so much the portion sizes, because I feel like, we all remember that pie chart from school, where they would say, what should be on your plate. but I don't think people often recognize what qualifies as a serving, and so they overeat or they undereat. So for me, we have snack bowls, and I require now that they put the snacks in the bowl as opposed to taking the big bag and taking handfuls out the bag, because that's
Right.
eating just to be eating. And then like yesterday, I sent everybody a message and I said, I just bought these cookies from Trader Joe's. Where are they? Because my family wants to take the entire container and go and eat. And I'm like, no, take some out, put them in a container. So now I'm like, these bowls are the requirements for these things. And it's been working so far. But we'll see what happens once, I'm kind of not hoping such a tight rein on it.
Right. One thing that you can do too, picking up on that, the snack bowl idea, I talked about this in our Facebook group, our private Facebook group yesterday, is you can do bento boxes, or if you don't have a bento box, you can, create your own bento box. So either a bento box, you can use, if you have like meal containers, you can use one of those, or you can just use Ziploc bags, or if you want to save the environment, then use the smaller, sealable, reusable containers, food containers, and put your snacks in those every day. So this could be a part of your schedule, part of your routine every morning.
I like that.
Put them in there, and then that's what you're going to have. So when it's time for a snack, you're feeling like you need a snack, you're just going to grab whatever it is you have, your bento box, your meal containers, your reusable food containers, and that's your snack, and then you're done. So
I like that idea, because I feel like it's what I did when I packed lunch. I give them, and so I have friends who literally still kind of go through the motion of packing lunch, and I'm like, that's the one thing that I don't miss about them being home. Like, I hated packing lunch. And now I get it. Like, it definitely makes sense, because I feel like if I do that, they won't feel like they always constantly have to be eating. Because I'm like, you drink some water, you're not hungry.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. All right. So the next tip is to make your home a sanctuary. So, we're all home. Most of us, unless we're essential workers, home a lot more than we're used to. And for some people, that's a great thing. Some people it's great in the beginning. Now they're over it. Some people, it's a not so great thing. So, but to make your home as much of a sanctuary as possible. So for me, clutter drives me crazy. Now, that being said, it's not like my house is meticulously, organized and clean, but I do definitely have like a clutter threshold. And actually my office at work is very clean because the people who live with me aren't there, so I'm able to keep it for the most part.
Control what you can control, right? Control what you can control. Absolutely.
But now that I'm home all the time, still trying to control what I can control. So what that is to say is to try to bring some, and I'm not a professional organizer, but to bring some organization into your home. Because if you're in the state where, let's say if there's a room, like I'll use my house as an example, where your family hangs out, but it gets to a point where, the pillows that are on the couch are all over the floor, the toys are all over the floor in the family room, the blankets are on the floor. I mean, this is literally what I will walk into in my family room. There's a bunch of papers all over the table. To take even just that one space and to just say, nope, pillows don't belong on the floor. We're going to pick those up. No one's using these blankets. We're going to fold them up, put them away. It doesn't have to be like a huge, organization project. It can even be to the point of, so I have an office at home, which my son is using with me.
You guys see that switch in her? She's like, which he's using.
Why are there people in my office? Get out. But to take that space and to just make sure when he has done his schoolwork for the day, close the computer, whatever papers were used, do we still need these? Okay, great, we're gonna put it in the homework caddy. We don't need these, okay, those go in the recycle bin. So to have that order throughout the day, even if it's something like making sure that you empty the dishwasher, put dishes away every day, to make sure that there's not all this stuff, because we're home typically maybe not. That stuff would be put away at some point through the day, before work, after work, whatever it is. But now we're here and we're kind of just like, okay, whatever. But to get into this pattern where, nope, we're gonna, load the dishwasher, unload the dishwasher, put the dishes away, instead of having, the sink overflowing all day, every day. And then beyond that, yeah, you can get into some more, involved organization projects. Maybe pick a room that you said for months, for years that you were going to organize, but to make sure to break it down. Don't go, okay, I'm going to spend all Sunday, all Saturday organizing this room. I mean, maybe that's your thing, fine. But otherwise, no. Only take out what you can put back in 10 or 15 minutes. So that means breaking the task down and taking 15 minutes, let's say, and I'm going to clear off the shelf in this closet for 15 minutes. I'm going to take a break for 5, I'm going to go back for 15, and then, go through that stuff and put it back. And if you have more time, or if you have more patience for it, maybe do that for up to an hour. Using this space as an example, so this is now my workspace, workout space, whatever. But this was a disaster before January. I decided to buy some more equipment so that I could do more of my workouts at home. And, so it was a big deal about organizing this room. And so I took an hour. I literally set a timer for an hour, would work on a task for an hour, take a break for 15 minutes, go back for an hour. And I did that. And that's how I was able to get through doing the task, instead of, okay, I'm going to spend the day doing this room. It would never, this was a project that I wanted to do for months. And when I finally organized it that way, broke it down that way, I was able to do it. So don't be afraid.
So I think those are extremely great tips, because my house is totally organized chaos. And what's funny is it works for me, but it does not work for my husband. And I try to create a happy medium, and so that everybody's not all stressed out. So when this pandemic came down, of course, I was like, this is the perfect opportunity for me to continue to clean out closets, get rid of stuff, sell stuff, all of that. I had huge, great ambitions, and I started some projects that are left unfinished. And it stresses me out a little bit. And so I love the breaking it down into chunks, with what I started doing. Like, okay, I know I need to get this piece done. The problem is, and where I need to go back to my bullet journal, because I realized that is where it's key for me, is in my mind, I'm like, oh, well, I'm gonna do this. Oh, and I can do this. Oh, and I'm gonna get that done. And I'm gonna get that done. So I have like 8 projects going on at the same time, and so of course nothing gets done.
Right.
So definitely the whole sanctuary piece. And so for me, I was speaking with someone the other day, and I was telling them, I said, I haven't been grounded, meaning like not on the road, not in a hotel, forever. Like, I don't know the last time that I've been home this long.
Yeah.
So I said, I need to create me a space and give me that comfort that I have when I go to a hotel, and what I like about being in a hotel and all of that. So that's cool, because that's what I was saying. I was like, I need to plan me a sanctuary, because right now I don't feel like I have one.
Right. And as we're at this longer, then you might be able to tackle doing some of those things. You may have been, someone may have been in the headspace where, creating that sanctuary, or even just cleaning out a drawer, was just like completely overwhelming. But as we, settle in more, you might be able to do some of those things, break it down into small, size pieces. One of my favorite sayings is, eat your elephant one bite at a time. And, so you might be in that spot right now. So literally pick a drawer and clean it out. And, and that's a win. That's a victory. And then, so small victories. So the next tip is to get active. And, obviously this is, my area of expertise, but so a couple ways that you can do that. So one way, obvious way, is doing workouts to make sure that, you're getting moving, you're building strength. What we do, what our focus is really about building strength, helping people be strong in the gym, or I guess now in their sessions on Zoom. So be strong there so they can be strong in every other aspect of your life, because getting strong getting physically strong helps you to become mentally strong, emotionally strong, to be able to deal with all the things that are going on with your life. If you're, tasked with doing something in a workout that you feel is impossible and you achieve it, you're like, oh, well, yeah, I can go get that work done. I can be on Zoom meetings tomorrow because I did this thing that I thought was impossible. So to find out, to figure out, some way to get workouts in. Also, working out, being physically fit helps your immune system. It's going to boost your immune system, and that's something that we all need right now. No, it's not a cure for the Rona, but it's going to help us. The stronger we are, the stronger our immune system is, and we can fight off things, and especially as we re-enter society, because we're going to need that. There's not going to be a vaccine for a long time. We can't stay in our houses for 2 or 3 years. We're going to have to go back out into the world to some, yes, with distancing and all of that, and when the time is right. But the stronger your immune system is, the more likely or more unlikely you will be to get sick. So doing those workouts, whether it's with us, or whether it's something else you find, there are tons of resources out there. Every gym, every personal trainer, to some extent has gone to a virtual space. So, there's something out there for everyone. So find the thing for you. Part 2 of that would be, even though you're working out, and yes, it makes you healthy, you still need to be active. We're all, before this, we were sedentary. Now we're even more sedentary. I noticed in the first couple of weeks that, I had my hip pain was flaring up, my knees, which haven't hurt for years, were hurting, my back, was hurting, everything. And so it's so important to get up and to get moving. And there are so many ways you can do that, setting a timer to make sure that you stand up, from your desk once an hour, making sure that you're not working in just a seated position, so changing your position. I did a video on that too.
Cool.
Making sure that you get outside and go for a walk. Ideally, if you can, if you have the time, maybe a short walk, even if it's just around the block in the afternoon, and then maybe a longer walk either in the morning, first thing, or in the evening, whatever works best for your schedule. Because also being outside, getting fresh air is good for you, your immune system, and so good for your mental health. So we need that. We need the fresh air. We need the sunshine. So make sure to get active. And also, one other thing, and to do things too, if you are inside, if it's not a good day, do active things inside. So whether that's a game, we have a small basketball net, so, playing basketball inside with your kids, or whatever kind of indoor activity that you can have, active time with your partner, whatever.
I absolutely agree. And oftentimes I think that when people hear, especially trainers, say get active, they think, oh my God, they want me to lift weights, they want me to get on an elliptical machine, they want me to do this, they want me to do that. And they don't often realize that something so simple as just a walk really totally uplifts your mood. For me, I make sure that I go outside every day, even if I just walk in my yard. I do go to the mailbox every day, and I put my fancy shoes on because I realize that I need to wear my shoes. But I just feel like we are so inundated with all this information that's coming at us that we're on overload, and oftentimes just a change of scenery, even if you just go outside, just totally helps that. And so for me, every morning I go out. I breathe. I'm just I take in nature. I talk to the birds. I talk to my garden. I water it. So for me, it's become a ritual, and it's kind of totally relieved a lot of the anxiety. Although I am not as active as I would love to be, or really need to be, I guess is probably the better thing to say. I do try. Like I said, we will go to the trail. And while we're there, the kids will play with us on the grass. And I'll walk. However, if a lot of people start showing up, I leave because I'm just not comfortable with that. I'm like, oh, we gotta go. And I was telling people, adjust your time. Go in the morning, and if you see the morning is okay, then keep going in the morning. So for us, it works to go earlier before people are quote unquote off work, because it's not that many people out. But at 5 and 6 o'clock, everybody's out because they need that release, and I get it. I just don't want to be out there with them. So I think it was very good that you stated that, because people people are oftentimes intimidated with the equipment that kind of quote unquote goes along with getting active. I used to ride my bike all the time, and I really have not ridden the way I would love to ride. But I still talk to all my rider friends, and a lot of them are like riding in basements or their bike outside and ride on a trainer. So I tell people, do what works for you, get moving. And so since I'm the one who generally goes to the store, sometimes I'm like putting the bags up while I'm walking, or go my camp. I'm like, do whatever works to get moving. And I tell them, also a part of moving is you want anything that's in your body to flow. Like, if it's not supposed to be in there, you want to help it flow out. And that's something that I learned just a lot as a breast cancer survivor. Just with the lymphatic massage and the importance of it and all of that. And there've been a lot of videos where the nurses are telling people that, if you've been out and, out a lot and around a lot of people, you want to have somebody pump on your back to release your lung, release that whatever could be in your lungs. And I'm like, it's the same thing. If you're walking, if you're moving, your body's pumping it. So it's going to help you. Your body wants to heal itself, but you can't do that if we're not in motion. So yeah, I think that's great. That's great. All right, what's the next tip?
Yeah. So the last tip is control what you can control. So, like we said in the beginning, and this really came from what I was noticing in myself. So, social media can be great, and social media can be horrible and toxic. And what I was finding is in the social media groups that I was in, especially during the beginning of this, people were just losing their minds. I kind of said, I feel like it's a bunch of people who are used to being able to control everything, who they can't control this, but they are still doing it. So they would go on social media and do all of these rants. And then, one person was agreeing with them and one person was saying they were crazy. And, there was all this bickering. And I literally spent a day like scrolling on my phone and going, put your phone down, put your phone down. You need to get off the phone. Why are you still on the phone? You have work to do. So I decided to control what I could control, which was, you know what? I'm going to, one, find a friend to help me and tell me, I know you have to be on social media for your business, but, I want to be off social media by this time. This is my time to be on social media. So I'm going to be on then, but I need you to call me to make sure that I get off social media. One of the tools that I have on my computer, speaking of controlling what I can control, is a blocker where you can block different websites. It's called self-control. It only works for Macs, unfortunately, and it only works on an actual computer as opposed to a phone. But you set up this blocker and there is no out. Like once you enable it, doesn't matter if you delete the app, if you shut your computer down, you could wipe your computer out. It will not disable the app, the block, until your time is up, whatever time you set for it. And it was that I gave myself because I was able to control or use this blocker to control myself when I couldn't, to say, okay, I'm not going to be on Facebook during this part of the day. I'm going to have this hour block open. I have my friend who's going to FaceTime me at 4 o'clock to say, did you get off Facebook? Shut it off, delete it from your phone, and start all over again tomorrow. And it was the greatest gift, especially during the first 2 weeks when I was just in a constant state of panic, to do all that, because then I was able to calm myself. And like I said, I controlled what I could control. I can't control what other people do.
Right.
But I can control what I do. And I can put things in place to, have reign over whatever my kingdom is, which is this. Partially this, right? So that then I'm able to go do other things, because if I'm constantly anxious, if I'm revved up, if I'm panicking, I'm not going to work out. I'm not going to eat well. I'm not going to be able to be emotionally supportive for my family, because everything inside is just in chaos. So I can control by saying, I can say how much social media, how much regular media news I'm going to consume. I can say, given what I'm able to access at the store, what I'm going to put in my mouth and how much I'm going to put in my mouth. I'm able to say, yeah, I'm going to do that workout right now. I'm going to call one of my lifting buddies and say, hey, can we have a weekly Zoom appointment where we just work out together in our basements? Which was one thing that I did when I was struggling with personal trainers struggle as well. When I was struggling, with working out, those are the things that I can control. I can't control how many people are going to the supermarket, who's not distancing, all of that stuff. Is it frustrating? Yes. But I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm going to focus on what I can control so that I can, have, at least in this environment, the life that I want to have. So.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That is beyond important. I know for me, like I post on Facebook a lot and I tell people, I got to take a break from you guys because it's too much. The fake news and some of the things that people are saying is just too much for me. And I'm a strong believer in you need to wear a mask. And I had an argument with someone the other day. I was in downtown Philadelphia picking up dinner for Mother's Day for my mom. And so many people were not practicing social distancing, did not have a mask. And I was annoyed because I was like, that mask is not about protecting you. It's about protecting others. And I really felt like it was selfish. So some people wanted to go off on me. And at one point, I literally was in a rabbit hole. Like, I don't even want to tell you how long I was on back and forth with people. And finally, I said, okay, before I disconnect, this is my page. I can say whatever I want to say. You can say whatever you want to say on your page. I have the right to feel however I want to feel. You're not going to change my mind, but you are going to be respectful. And I felt so much better saying that and letting people know I'm not tolerating it. And I went through and I deleted some of their comments. And someone had sent me a DM and she was like, oh, I didn't mean to offend you. I was like, well, we don't have to talk about it. Like, let's move on. I don't agree with you. You don't agree with me. We don't have to agree, but we don't have to be argumentative about it. And right now for me, every time I turn on the news, because I'm a big news watcher, which is something I'm trying to curb. Every time I turn on the news and I'm seeing, these children are now being affected and some of them are being affected and never had any symptoms. That for me is like, you people are so stupid that you don't understand how, the privilege, first of all, that we have to just be home. And while this is our new norm for other countries, this has been how they've lived forever. And there are some countries where they can't go outside after a certain time for fear of being arrested or shot. Like, we don't even have it that bad. Like, while our civil liberties have not been taken away, something so simple as a mask is not that deep. And, when I see how all the stores now have the sign, in order for you to enter, you have to wear a mask. And people are fussing and complaining about it, or they're mad they have to stand in line. I'm like, what makes you think you have the right to argue and complain? You can go. You don't have to come here. And I just feel like sometimes all of that is what gets me. And that's why I have to take a step back and be like, okay, Tamika, you know what's about to happen. Just let it go. And so absolutely control what you control. And like I tell people all the time, I'm all about picking and choosing my battles. So literally sometimes I might post something and people know I'm good for it. Like I'll post something and I might comment a couple times and then I'll go away from it. And they're like, we're having a conversation with you. I'm like, yeah, but I was over that conversation. I was done. But you guys still want to, so I let you. But yeah, so I definitely it's about protecting your mental state, because I know I can get in a rabbit hole and be trying to dig myself out, and it'll be like 4 hours later, and I'm like, oh God, how'd I get here?
Right.
So yeah, I don't know that I would use that app because I think that my anxiety could like get the best of me. I'd be like, oh my God, what's going on? I need to check. Although I love it. I think it's great. I really think it's great. Something to put for our children.
Yes.
Because they're not used to having this technology 24/7. And sometimes they need something to curb it. And so I like that. I love that. And so I might actually sneak that on my kids' computers while they're not looking.
The good news about the app is that, like I said, it doesn't work on the phone. So you can still access Facebook via your phone unless you delete. So I would actually delete the Facebook app every day. And then put it back on my phone. So I kind of have the two things going. I'm at the point right now where I don't need to do that, but just going through that exercise for a few weeks got me past, constantly being in that rabbit hole, constantly being in that cycle. So
I get it. I listen. I say do what works for you, and that's been my response to probably everybody that I've spoken to, and they've been telling me how they changed this up, they changed that. My one girl talked to her, and she was like, "I feel so bad because I let my children eat popcorn for dinner." I said, "Are they still alive?" Sometimes you just gotta take a break. Like you gotta check in with yourself. But these links are great. So I posted in the comments the links for them to go on and actually get your at-home survival kit. And I posted the link to your beginner fitness. And I also put the link in for them to really connect with you on your website. And I will share the link to your private Facebook group. This has been great. Absolutely.
I forgot. I had my mug. This is my favorite mug. Here, cheers.
What are you drinking?
I'm just drinking. It's like a it's just like a mix of like water and protein powder. So that's what I'm drinking out of my mug. It's been a hectic, crazy day. I haven't even had coffee today, which is not me. Like,
yeah, I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm a tea drinker, hence tea talk. But I am drinking cinnamon rose tea. So Organic India is a tea that I drink often. I absolutely love it. This is one that I really like because of the flavors in it. I don't necessarily need to put sugar in it. So I tell people about that. But speaking of tea, so I got this slim tea from one of my friends. Apparently she's working in the company. I haven't even opened it yet. So have you heard about this? Like, what are your thoughts on like supplements and things like this? Uh-oh.
All right. So here's how I feel. Even though protein powder is a supplement, first of all, I'm a big advocate for getting your food or getting your vitamins, your minerals, all of that from actual food as much as possible.
Okay, I like that.
Eat your fruits, eat your vegetables. It's better for you, for your body overall. I do realize that some people need some supplementation. So, doing things like a multivitamin, protein powder if you need extra protein, or, like for me being a power lifter, I have protein that I drink when I'm doing my workouts to keep my energy up throughout the workout. So things like that, I really do think are important, but I do think a lot of supplements are unnecessary. So the best advice that I can give is make sure that you read your labels, look into the supplement as much as possible, find out as much information as you can as possible. If all the information you're getting is from the supplement company itself, I would
right.
or peer-reviewed research or independent research on whatever the supplement is. But for most people, and I'm talking general population who's looking to be fit, look good in their clothes, look good out of their clothes, be healthy, whatever it is, that a lot of supplementation is really unnecessary.
Okay.
In terms of like skinny teas and things like that, I've never done any myself. I've read lots of articles from people who have not had the best reaction in terms of either having GI issues, having issues with low energy, those sort of reactions. And also a lot of times those things are about creating a calorie deficit, because that's how, for most people, you lose weight, if that's what you're looking to do. And so a better way to create that is through food as opposed to drinking a tea. But you do,
That was a easy question. I'm sorry, I was not expecting it. It was sitting here, and I was like, "Oh, let me ask her about it." Literally, so here's how it happened. Let me just we'll keep it quick. Normally, I don't do things like that. One, because I'm a breast cancer survivor, so I am very, very, very mindful of what I intake for that reason. However, I generally will support my friends and their businesses. So she's been doing it. She's been talking about it. And I was like, okay, I'll order one. I'll order one. Just give me one. Not really no thought about it. Like, oh, maybe I should try it or whatever. I do want to try to see what it tastes like. Do I expect it to do something? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
So,
we are at our
to your friends.
no, not at all. And I feel like they know this. And I tell people when you are selling any type of product, you gotta have thick skin because it's not for everybody. Like there's this guy, these two guys that I know, and they've been posting in this group about job opportunities and getting products that are non-toxic and stop using Lysol and stop using bleach, but they never come out and say the company's name. And I'm like, why? If the company works, why aren't you sharing the name of it? And so I always say to them, I said, for me, that's just negative review. I said, but you know what? You do you. Whatever works for you is what works for you. I'm not your client. And that's what I tell people. Know who you're marketing to. It's not me. So don't send me a DM about it because I'm not interested. But I wish them well. Hope it works. Whatever it is, keep it going. But we are at our time, and I want to thank you for joining us. This has been a great conversation. So, guys, if you want to learn more from Michelle, you can always go follow her at Performance Fitness. She has a Facebook group that you guys can join as well. I'll post the link to that, and I'm going to do that now while I'm talking. And in addition, the link to her Survival at Home kit has been posted as well. Totally go there, check it out. Get some tips, share these tips. I mean, it was great information. And I'm sure you guys probably thought I was just going to be like, oh, work out. You guys know I'm never going to just tell you to work out. It's all about the complete package. And I feel like that's what these tips are delivering. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I look forward to talking with you guys next week. Have a great day. Bye. See you later.